This is Soul Chronicles, and I'm your host, C. Boyd Motley. This is episode 1 in a podcast that's just getting started, so bear with us as we do things a little bit messy. First, I'm an actor by profession, but also I have kind of dabbled in the podcast space, if you will. If you Google a show called The Happy Hour Fellas, you will find that's where I got my feet wet, per se, in this arena. But this is my first solo project where I'm trying to, venture into new areas of entertainment and education, sharing information, that kind of thing. So, what are the Soul Chronicles? Basically, I've been in therapy, have gone through therapy, and one of the tools that I gained from therapy was having outwardly conversations or talking to yourself, if you will, where I discuss different issues that I'm dealing with and try to sort through it verbally versus in my head. That way I can kind of talk out solutions. So, a lot of times during those conversations, I have epiphanies or, wake up calls, aha moments. And I'm like, damn, I didn't write that down, or I should have recorded that. So this is what that attempt is, to try to document these kind of conversations that I have and kind of have them with you, because I know that there are people out there that can relate to a lot of what I'm going to talk about over the course of these episodes, because we're all on this evolutionary journey, right? And we're just trying to be better than we were yesterday, you know. And part of that is owning the fact that you have demons to deal with, you know. And my demons, or some of them anyway, are overthinking, procrastination, and perfectionism. So I'm a recovering addict, if you will, in those arenas as well. So I'm going to do this podcast, as I said in the beginning, a little bit messy. It's not going to be edited as much as I can because I want it to be as raw as possible, because I'm learning along with you listening and hoping that you can garner some information and wisdom from my experiences, and perhaps you can relate, or maybe if you haven't been through something like this, you can avoid the pitfalls that I have faced in my journey. Now, talking about my battles with overthinking, perfectionism, and procrastination, that's quite a sandwich, but we'll start with the overthinking and perfectionism. Well, no, start with overthinking, sorry. And as a person who is in the entertainment industry, I find myself being very self-conscious when it comes to thinking about what people might want to hear or trying to please people. Giving some context to that statement, I grew up as an introvert. And in my youth, I spent a great deal of time trying to fit in with others that I thought had it going on. So I became a people pleaser as a child into my young adulthood, trying to figure out ways to fit in because I wasn't pleased or happy with myself for a very long time, mentally and physically. And I felt like being someone or trying to please people would help solve that problem. So going into my school years, I was, you know, doing homework. I was a bit of a nerd, I could admit that. And I was offering my intelligence as a way into gaining friendship, not realizing that that's just an opportunity to be used and abused uh, willingly. And so, with hindsight being what it is, I recognize that those were days I was just in a space where I was just trying to be accepted, like I said, and not going about it the right way. Going into the perfectionism side of things, I just had this thing where I like to get things right the first time, but who doesn't, right? And I don't always love the process. I've never been a very big fan of it, but I've had to learn through trial and error that the process is part of the journey. And if you're going to achieve anything great, you're going to have to go through some process. You're not going to fall into greatness. That's not how it works. Now, there is lightning in a bottle situations, of course, but those are very rare and few and far between. More times than not, there is some kind of process, some kind of journey involved, and you have to embrace that and find joy in that. And that's where the perfectionism kicks in because I don't always find joy in the process, but I'm learning how to be better at that. Maybe you can relate to this. Share with me in the comments below about your experiences with perfectionism, if you deal with that, or how you have learned to embrace the process, because it might help me out. So I appreciate that. Procrastination, another Achilles heel, if you will. Putting things off because you try to find reasons to distract yourself because you don't want to face the fear of having to do the work. And for me, having shifted from acting, still acting, I should say, but shifting gears a bit and going into more content creation. The challenge there is being able to stay focused on getting the work done and not getting caught up in the numbers. I found myself procrastinating because I wasn't sure what to put out. I was just trying to throw things together and be slap happy rather than thinking out content and being cognizant of the audience and their needs, rather than just trying to chase the analytics and the algorithm, hoping that that would somehow magically happen. And let me tell you, as from experience, it does not go that way. It's actually a lot harder when you do it that way. When you have some organization, take the time to put out something of quality versus worrying about quantity, you tend to get better results. At least I have. Another thing about the fear of, judgment, the fear of getting the thing, doing the work, accepting the process, is recognizing that to be in this space, in the content creation, entertainment space, in a true form, like I'm doing today, you have to be willing to be naked. You know, you have to be willing to be vulnerable and judged, and recognize that there is a tribe out there for you, and that everything and everyone isn't for you, just like you're not for everyone and everything. And it's okay, because you're not supposed to be liked by everybody. It would be ridiculously foolish to try to seek the admiration of all, because there's just too many people to please and too many different perspectives you'd have to conform to make that work. So why try? But in our brains, and at least in mine anyway, for some reason, it pops in there thinking that somehow you can do that. But I am learning to embrace the adversity of not being liked. I like the conversation. You have an opposing viewpoint. Let's have the discussion. I'm not interested in personal or ad hominem attacks. I'm looking to learn from you just as much as I'm hoping you're looking to learn from me. I don't have all the answers. I'm still learning. Even in my about to turn 50 years old, Jesus Christ. So having to process that realization is a bit of a thing too, but you're still learning. You stay evolving in this life until you no longer can breathe. That's a reality that I've had to, face as of late, and try to impart that wisdom to others. And whenever I talk to them, is that you just don't know what tomorrow holds. So why worry about it? Focus on the present and deal with that. Another thing that I have realized is that you don't need permission to be great. Each of us is great in our own way. Why? Because we are unique. On this plane anyway. I'm sure we can get to a whole multi-verse conversation, but that's for another podcast. But for this situation here, for today's lesson, you don't need permission to be great. You need the courage to be great. You need the courage to step outside of your comfort zone and express yourself. Share your voice with other people so people can hear what you have to say. Because my perspective is unique just as much as yours is. And I know people have been through similar situations and circumstances, but no one on this planet can say they have been through the exact same circumstances, the same exact way, right down to the second that you have dealt with. Yes, we've all experienced loss, sadness, heartache, joy, pain, but there are levels to this, as they say. And recognizing that is a big deal. And I think that it's important that we recognize how this journey is supposed to be lived out. Life should be fun and enjoyable, but it is not without its drama. It's not without its pain and suffering. But in order for you to get to that greatness that you are born to be, you have to believe that you can do it. You have to step out of your space and say, you know what? I'm not going to allow my preconceived notions, my preconceived fears of or concerns about me doing this. The discomfort that I feel is a good thing. And doing this podcast actually is part of my journey of being uncomfortable, getting in a place where I can accept that and embrace that. And I'm hoping that some of you will join me on that journey. So until next time, take care of yourself. This is Soul Chronicles.